Welcome. This podcast is a series of candid conversations exploring the human experience from a completely new perspective. In it, we will be diving deeply into the meaning of commonly used words and pointing you away from that old stressful way of looking at life and towards a new paradigm. This will help you find a sense of calm, cultivate meaningful relationships, and create harmony in every aspect of your life. Here is Navigating Life with Ease with Michaela, Ellis and Clare, Downham. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. We've still got sunshine in the UK, so
Yeah,
I think we
great.
don't know where we are.
And we finally have sunshine back after like a week of rain, a lot of rain. It's been good. It's been good. Yeah. Ready to begin today. My turn to pose a word to you.
Excited.
Great. I would love to hear your take this morning on motivation.
Yes. Oh, what a topic for me that is, because I think that was my self-development journey, was to try and feel more motivated. That was all of it. It was all about that. It was all about the story of self-sabotage, that I wasn't doing what I should be doing, that was on my plan because I didn't respect myself or think I was good enough or some such nonsense. And I spent years trying to fix that through all sorts of self-development and stuff. But it was before I even started a business. It was probably, I do remember there always being a voice in my head that said I was lazy. Pretty persistent voice, really, that said, you're lazy, you're not doing enough, you could be doing more. And when I started my own business, that really ramped up and got quite noisy. And I remember being caught up in that really heavily until I came across this understanding that we talk about. And it's still being stuck for quite a while. It wasn't one of the first things that fell away. It took a while. But I remember once I was listening to what the F are the principles by Amir Karkusi. I'm not going to say the word, but he does put the F and the stars. But and in that book, I remember I had like a web page to do or something on my website, and I've been putting it off. And I remember I was listening to that book. It's so distinctive. It must have been one of those kind of fairly big insights or moments when I just saw something really differently. And hearing him say something along the lines of, why do you think you've got to feel a certain way to do things? And me kind of going, well, because you do, like, sort of in my head arguing with it. Well, you do, don't you? Like, you've got to feel this thing called motivation. And for me, that felt like you've got to get all your ducks in the row. And then when you've got that and you've done the right morning routine and all that shenanigans that I used to do, that a beam of light called motivation would come down from heaven and hit me on the top of the head. And then suddenly I'd be able to do things. And this guy was saying, no, you don't have to feel a certain way to do things. And that was the start of so much stuff falling away around motivation. And now I would say I have occasional moments where I'll dip down in energy, or I'll feel a bit low and I won't feel like doing things and I won't do things. But more often than not, I don't really care how I feel when I'm doing things. I just do things. Like the feeling comes with me on the journey, and it, feels sometimes like it's trying to stop me, but I'm not really bothered. I just get on with it, really. And that really reminds me of Elizabeth Gilbert's Letter to Fear, which I don't know if you've read that, Michaela. It's absolutely beautiful, but she really speaks to, she's talking about her and creativity going on a journey and fear being in the back going,
Yeah.
and her saying to fear, well, we know you're going to come, but actually creativity and I are in charge. We're controlling the sat nav, we're controlling the radio. You can get a vote, you can sit in the back and twir away to yourself. And that's what it felt like when this idea of not needing to feel a certain way to do things came into my life. I had that insight was that then I could do things. It didn't really matter how I felt. I don't have to feel motivated. I don't have to seek a special feeling. I think motivation or doing things, that's what we're talking about here, isn't it? When we say we want to feel motivated, we just want to do things unhindered without noise and feelings. That's it. That's what we want. But why do we think we can't do things with those on board? And the result of that is that it starts to fall away anyway. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff that's come up for me over the years around motivation, and it's a lot. There's a lot more ease around it now, definitely. How about you? What have you seen around motivation?
This is so good. Because I see it a little differently. And so here's an example. Well, here, what I see that motivation and inspiration can be really closely connected. So I'm working on my website, and I'm getting some pieces done. And for about a week, more than a week, a couple of weeks, things have been coming fairly easily. If I looked at it, I would say I'm motivated to write because I'm getting things that are coming out to write. And this morning, I felt a dip. And I looked at it and it's like, and I know we have seasons. Our bodies have seasons, the month has seasons, like we go in seasons. So it's natural to have ups and downs, to have energy to do this type of work. And then a couple of days later, to have energy to do a different type of work that requires different focus, different attention, different parts of the brain, that kind of thing. So I was actually thrilled that my stick-to-itiveness and what I would call, I was motivated and it just felt good. I was thrilled that it lasted so long, which was actually a surprise. And then this morning, when I felt that dip, it's like, right. Why? Because it actually started yesterday. It's because I'm working on a piece that I'm not sure about, but I'm trying to make something happen. I'm trying to squish some words together to speak to this part of it just to get it done. But the words aren't feeling right. And it's like, it's not clear yet. It's not clear yet what this part is going to look like that I'm offering. It's not quite clear how I'm going to speak to it. So I thought, oh, okay. Well, what am I certain about right now? It's like this piece. It's like, okay, I'm just going to go on that. And I was like, all right, here we go. And started working on that. So for me, I kind of see that motivation comes when I'm allowing myself to be guided to what is come easy right now. I have no doubt in my mind that there's going to be a time. I'm hoping it's in the next couple of days, but it may not. But even this morning, I got little chunks that relate to that piece that I just made a note about. It's like, oh, okay, when I let go of trying to mash things together and just okay, what can come through right now, and went to that. All of a sudden I started getting little bits related to the other, not a whole download of this is how it's going to be, but little bits. So it's like I'm just putting them down because it's like, good, yeah, that's good, that makes sense. So I have different feelings about motivation and how I look at it. Now, if like I work with people around body, it's one of the things. And there's a lot of talk about motivation. But there's this the what I can see around that is that what is the end? What do you really want? Because sometimes we put in our mind that we have to do this, so that we can experience what we really want. But all of those things sound terrible. So people want motivation, like help me motivate myself to do these things. It's just like, why don't we just skip to the end? Why don't we just skip to the feeling of what we're really wanting to have here? Because here's the thing that also came to me this morning. I can totally leave that one page off my website. If it doesn't happen when all the rest is ready, I can just leave it off and saying coming soon or whatever. What is it that I want to have? It's just like I just want a place to land there. When people look at all the things that they want to change in their body or whatever, usually it's about because they want to experience something, but they don't want to experience all the things that they think they have to in order to get there. So I kind of see that I really see a tie to motivation and inspiration. That when we're getting inspired from that infinite wisdom that's there to guide us, that it'll come and it'll happen. Yeah. Let me just pause there. So tell me, because I can feel that this is different. So I'm really curious about it.
Yeah, I think that's something that comes up a lot in this conversation is the following the nice feeling is often said, isn't it? You know, it was said by Sydney Banks as the originator to follow the nice feeling. But what I see about that is that, like, all of my really lovely ideas come with a nice feeling. And then my thinking, you know, my psychology gets involved. And suddenly I'm not in a nice feeling anymore because my psychology is saying, that's not going to work. You're going to look stupid. You can't do that. That's not right. Blah, 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 whatever. You're not good enough. You know, the story that we have about ourselves and how we are and how we relate to the world rears its ugly head. And we then think, oh, well, I'm not in a nice feeling now. So it must be that thing I was about to do, the inspired thing. And we stop. We get stuck and we don't move forward because we've misunderstood the memo, really. The memo was, yes, that nice feeling, go forward into that discomfort because actually then you are following because underneath that is this inspiration, this idea you've had, this insight that you've had for the next step. And then your psychology is trying to stop. It's not trying to stop you. It sounds like it's got its own personality, but your psychology is probably trying to keep you safe. That's probably actually it. And so it you know, comes in, brings a horrible anxious feeling with it, and then we don't do it, or a stuck feeling, or for me, it tends to feel like it's avoidance. Just don't do the thing. It'll be just shoved to one side, you know, out of the way because I'll just avoid doing it. And can do that for long periods with something that's come from this sense of calm. It's come from the nice feeling, but then the psychology covers that over. And I think for me, what can often be, I find helpful is action. You know, a while ago I was designing a new program and I'd had a kind of part finished Word document, and I was kind of waiting for the inspiration to come. Like, I just kept thinking about it and thinking, oh, I don't really have any ideas about that, get on with my life, and then keep coming back in the thought of it. And then one day I just thought, I'm just going to open the document. I'm going to start reading it, what I've written so far, and I'm going to see what emerges. And as soon as I opened the document, as soon as I started to read what I'd written already, it all just started to, oh, that doesn't belong there. It belongs with that bit. Oh, here's an extra bit I really want to put in this section. And very quickly, it all just started to come to life. So I understand this idea of inspiration or following our intuition, perhaps. But I also almost think like we need to let that energy of life know what direction we're going in.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sometimes it's not just going to show up if we're just kind of wandering around waiting for inspiration. Like you're noticing, you've kind of put a message out there. I need some inspiration for this page, and it is just starting to kind of plop in. You've made a sense. You've looked in a direction. You've kind of said, "Oh, actually, there's a web page here, and it's just I need some inspiration for it. I need some ideas for it, some creative solution to it." And so because you've looked in that direction, it's almost like this universal intelligence now knows what you need, and it's starting to pop it in. Whereas if we don't, if we're kind of just waiting, like I think, unfortunately, some people in this conversation in our community do a lot of sitting around waiting for it to pop in. Like you're doing other things in the meantime. You're following your wisdom on the bits that are kind of settling in. But you've also, for the bit that's sticky, you've made a move in the direction. You've got a piece of paper to write down ideas. And I think then our intuition or wisdom or universal intelligence, whatever you kind of knows, doesn't it? Yeah, actually, I kind of want some ideas about this, and then they just start to plop in. But I think we need to take action. Which, if people aren't feeling motivated, in inverted commas, might be the sticking point to just make a start, to take an action, even if it's a very small one. And it's amazing what I think emerges from that initial action can beget like a ton more energy, inspiration, creativity, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. I heard something in there. Well, I mean, I heard how you talked about emerging. These things emerged when you just opened up the page. But then I heard things like, about who's making the decision of which direction that we're going. Like when you decide that this is where I'm going, and then the universe sort of comes up and supports that. I kind of see that it's the universe that provides that initial direction for me. So I don't feel like I'm like me, little Michaela's trying to make something happen. That's when there's no motivation. That's when, unless it's aligned, like something will come up, like someone else will say, hey, I'm doing this. And then I'll think, oh, well, maybe if it sparks, and it's like, if it's just like, oh, I want that too, but it doesn't really have a spark from inside, then I would call that me, little Michaela, wanting to do something and hope like heck that the universe thinks that's a great idea for me too. Because if not, then it's going to feel hard and pushy and effortful. So I think this idea about the good feeling that we're talking about is really it's there all the time. But it's just that when our little personal mind gets caught on, I want that, but it actually, there's no internal alignment with it. It's just like, Michaela, the universe knows that, Michaela, well, you know what? There's something better for you. You're caught on this because you think that is going to give you the happiness and the the satisfaction that you're looking for. But the universe will know better, because I don't have A, B, C, D, E, all my steps laid out. I could try, but it doesn't work like that very well. So I'm kind of seeing that when I do kind of let go, and it's like this morning, it's like, okay, I could waste a couple of hours pushing and shoving words and trying to, or I can just like, well, what else in this project of a website is ready? Like I'm ready to go. So yeah, I do really still see that when it's inspired from within, that is the motivation, and things will just happen. Then there might be stumbling block. Yeah. Because when I start to think, well, wait a minute, this, I need to make it sound like this, or it should be, it should be written that way. And it's just like, oh, mine does not look like all of the, there's many, many, many more words in it than the expert marketer website people would say to put in. And I don't care anymore, because I'm not a person of just a few tiny words. Maybe one day I will be. Yeah, I don't know. So I kind of see that we're actually we're pointing to we're still pointing to the same thing, and there's just different words to describe of where we get stuck. That yeah, there is those thoughts of that I'm not doing it the way I'm supposed to do it. I'm going against the grain. That means what? Maybe it won't work. Maybe people won't connect to it. And it's like, whatever. I don't care. It will. It feels right. It feels good. So let's just go with it and see what happens.
I think it all refers back to my favourite equation at the moment, which is performance equals potential minus interference. And that's what we're both pointing to. We're both pointing to that we are infinite potential, and that when we're working in that space, whatever we're doing, we're going to just be driven forward, almost like a river that's flowing. We don't need to get overly involved in that. It's not our problem, really. It just will flow. And then when our psychology interferes with that, that's when we feel stuck and we don't know how to move forward. And and either way, that's where we're both pointing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our ability to do things is potential minus interference. And really, when we're talking about motivation, which is yet another one of those made-up words, really, isn't it, that we often talk about, it really is just wanting to do things unhindered, isn't it? Like that's what we mean when we say motivation. We mean we want to get stuff done, we want to move forward in our lives, and we want to do that without feeling sometimes like somebody's sat on our chest. So I think we are absolutely both pointing in exactly the same direction. Beautiful as always. So thank you so much. That was a lovely conversation.
That was very good. Thank you, Clare.
Yeah, and thank you everybody who's been listening. We'll see you all again soon. Thank you, Michaela. Bye.